Oh my god. Are you serious right now? Are you serious? Are you fucking serious? SCP-650 Startling statue. It's a squid game. That is the one of the Korean series, the about the game Squid Game. You know that game, Even I do not watch it, but I know about that because spoiler alert, I saw it in IG. So yeah, I know about that. So I have to do so. Today I say so many times. So well, okay. I do not understand. Why you do the I cannot. I fucking cannot. Is this the things? Really? Because I saw it on thumbnail, but we do not know. Okay, because I do not watch it. So today we're gonna react to SCP-650 Startling statue. Okay, we're gonna react to SCP animation. Okay, made by Detective Void, and I still do not understand why you do that. I know the Squid Game is popular right now, going viral, but my god, are you really want to? I think SCP is not. I mean, I search it in Google. It's not real. They just made a fiction about this, but we cannot go to a conclusion. Okay, so we're gonna reaction first. So before we're gonna reaction, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification. And yep, that's all. And let's go to the reaction. As always, nice animation.
Danny despised modern art. The news that he'd have to work as a night guard at a modern art exhibition really didn't get him all that pumped up. But a job's a job. The last visitors had
Banana? Seriously? Banana with a stapler? Not stapler. What's it called? Tap. Yeah.
finally left. Danny couldn't wait to lock up, finish his evening patrol of the art installation, which he hated, and then sit down and watch the baseball game. While he gave the place a look over, the guard spat out a ton of profanity at each and every part of the exhibition. There was one black sculpture, which was about the height of a small person, that he really didn't like. Danny thought the artist was very lazy and a complete fraud. Okay, he hadn't finished the hands, and the Venus de Milo was usually done without any arms, so that was understandable. But how someone could completely ignore the face and leave only a smooth, round ball where the head should be, Danny did not know. Finishing his musings, the guard shook his head in front of the statue and went off to watch the match. At that time, there was still no internet, so Danny was watching baseball on a good old-fashioned TV and not in 4K resolution.
Yeah, I mean, that is old TV, so I understand it. It's 400p, 440p, 480p. Okay.
So the TV would stop playing on him. The guard had to get up and give it a whack. As luck would have it, the television would glitch out at the game's most interesting moments. When the New York Yankees' top pitcher made his throw, the screen actually stopped showing anything at all. Danny got up from his chair and gave the TV a good whack with his fist. The image returned, but when the guard moved backwards towards his seat, he felt some kind of obstacle with his hand.
Oh no.
Danny froze with fear, his forehead covered in cold sweat. Surely someone had thought to steal from a modern art exhibition. Danny slowly turned around, but there was no one behind him. Maybe his mind had played tricks on him with the heat and his fatigue. The guard sat down to watch the match for a while longer, but was already less enthusiastic about it. The next blow Danny delivered to the television extinguished the screen completely.
Oh no.
But in its reflection, Danny saw a human silhouette with a missing face.
No.
The guard let out a shriek. In an attempt to flee, collapsed onto the TV. Danny looked around, but no one else was there. The guard was sure that someone had broken into the building, so he phoned the police. The police thought that the guard didn't look all that well, and they sent him home to get some rest. At home, Danny always felt safe, but not this time. To him, it seemed that he was constantly being followed by someone.
Over there.
Several times, the guard thought he could feel the breathing of his pursuer on the back of his head. Danny lay in his bed, thinking that come morning, this feeling would have...
This one is more, how to say... Okay, I was thinking that, why you do that? Why you telling that SCP is the one of the Squid Game, you know, yeah, the red light and green light, that one, the first game, you know that one, you know, the most popular memes and everything in IG. But yeah, at least put something else. Do not put clickbait over there. Okay.
He climbed under the blanket and shut his eyes, but only a second later felt someone hugging him around the waist.
Nice.
The guard quickly turned around and found that same sculpture next to him, the one without any hands and without a face.
What do you mean without
how
hands?
Danny's story came to a close,
okay.
we first have to deal with the given anomaly. The black sculpture that frightened the guard is cataloged as Object SCP-650. The statue is 167 centimeters tall, and the majority of its form resembles a human. Its hands are completely absent, while its arms taper off into rounded points. The head is comprised of a smooth ball without a face. From its position,
But
however, it's
first
evident
at all, how the hell he see people? Yeah, that's the first thing I want to know.
that the facial aspect is constantly pointed upwards, at least while the statue is being observed. The sculpture should constantly be kept in someone's field of vision. When the statue stops being observed, it disappears from its current location and instantly appears behind someone's back. SCP-650 adopts a terrifying pose and gets very close to its victim. Those who don't have the fortune of finding the...
You want to say that that thing is when you blink, and that thing will be in your eyes. After that, a blink again to another people, and you saw them.
anomaly behind their back as a
It's the
reflex.
same that the one SCP that if you look that SCP, he will not move in, but when you do not watching or look at that SCP, he will kill you. The one that
Flee according to the fight or flight response. Fortunately, SCP-650 does not exhibit any hostile behavior. Its main goal is to scare its victim, not to attack it. But for people with a weak heart and psyche, even that could prove too much.
yeah,
For
that's true.
example, Danny suffered from a congenital heart defect. After his encounter with SCP-650, he suffered a heart attack. Luckily, Danny's terrified shrieks were heard by his neighbors, who called the police and an ambulance, so the guard was saved.
Nice.
The anomaly's mode of transportation is still unknown. It's completely silent, and not once has anybody been able to record its trajectory while moving. It
Why you just do not kill that thing or damage that thing at least?
most likely uses teleportation. This theory is supported by an incident where the sculpture appeared at an opposite end of its containment site behind research personnel. When the statue is unable to escape its observer's field of vision, it sometimes changes its pose while maintaining a safe distance. The sculpture might lie on a table, sit on a chair, or even shrink into a corner with an expression of fear.
Oh.
Observers also felt very uncomfortable when these changes took place. It's possible that such poses are actually another way of frightening their victims when their standard method is unavailable. The Foundation's personnel don't know what motivates such behavior in the statue, but to me it seems that this is the way the anomaly feeds. The statue scares its victim, and subsequently the anomalous character extracts adrenaline and noradrenaline from their body, which are emitted when frightened. To verify this given hypothesis would be quite easy, although it would also be rather cruel. To do this, you'd have to remove the adrenal glands of Class D personnel and see whether or not the sculpture attempted to frighten them. If not, it would mean the anomaly actually feeds off adrenaline and noradrenaline. If the statue appeared behind the back of these personnel regardless, it would mean the object requires osteocalcin. That's another hormone created in a person's
the one
bone
of
tissue
that
when they
picture.
suffer a shock. But you could hardly confirm that hypothesis. The chemical composition of the material that makes up the sculpture also remains undefined. So we have to turn to guesswork. Personally, I believe the statue was created using ancient minerals which existed before Homo sapiens came to Europe. It
What's
was during
that?
this time that the anomalous sculpture was
What's
also
that?
created. The
Tell
sculpture
me.
was contrived by the first representatives of Homo sapiens who had come to Europe from Africa.
You want to say that this thing made the age ago, the long time ago, when the England or British and Italy, German, and I mean USA is not powerful back in the day. I mean a long time ago, because British take over the USA, but you want to say that that thing made when back in the day, a long time ago, like that?
It was then that they crossed paths with their main rivals, the Neanderthals. Mainstream science knows that this given species of human went extinct, as Homo sapiens multiplied more quickly and fully came to take the place of the Neanderthals, absorbing them into their population. But I don't think this happened all on its own. Homo sapiens and the Neanderthals established an unstable peace. Homo sapiens, however, planned to slowly rid themselves of their rivals in such a way that the Neanderthals would suspect nothing. At that time, magic and the paranormal had not been pushed beyond the realms of social thought like nowadays. Homo sapiens priest constructed this sculpture from unidentified stone.
I mean,
and with the
if only if that thing is magical, do you think that scientists will try to approve that magic is not real? It just like make a conclusion and give the answer why this thing, when people say a flying car back in the day, they think like a magic with flying car and everything, but made by a science. Like right now, the aeroplane, helicopter, jet, and everything.
ancient spells programmed it to follow and scare the Neanderthals. As most scientists know, individuals who constantly anticipate attack cannot lead a normal life. They don't eat on a regular basis and they don't carry on their line. Legends of the Faceless begin quickly spreading among the Neanderthals. They lost their appetite and stopped sleeping. Their children became less well-groomed, were unfed, and in the case of illness, no one cared for them. So in the space of several years, fear wiped out Homo sapiens' main foe entirely. Thereafter, the magic statue changed hands many a time. It was used in the political schemes of kings, military leaders, revolutionaries, and presidents. If an enemy had to
Wait, is that Hitler over there?
The magic statue changed hands many a time. It was used in the political schemes of kings, military leaders, revolutionaries, and
Yep, Hitler over there. Looks like that thing is one of the Nazi.
presidents. If an enemy had to live, but a necessary decision had to be extracted from them, SCP-650 was more than up to the task. Among other things, clearly a comparison needs to be drawn between the statue and the similar anomaly SCP-173.
Yeah, that one.
I've already talked about this anomaly before. That sculpture is much more... It immediately kills its victims if its observers stop watching it for even a fraction of a second. In my video on SCP-173, I talked about a certain Mr. Haradusi Murakato, who I believe to be the creator of the aforementioned anomalous sculpture. This sculptor likely also possesses the ability to create living statues, just as primitive men did. Only he's risen above his ancestors. While primitive men only wanted to scare their enemies, Murakato intended to completely annihilate his. Honestly, it's only natural that I pose a certain question at this point. Did primitive men really not run the risk of being attacked by his own creation? I propose that this was entirely dependent upon primitive man's exterior form. The relevant sciences only give a rough picture of the exterior, but I believe some primitive men were affected by significant mutations. In all known cultures, a person with any physical impairment could not become a priest, unless it was perceived as a benefit. I think that certain individuals among primitive men had, instead of normal skin, a jelly-like substance identical to the eyes. It was covered by tissue protecting it from harm. Due to this, on the outside it seemed such a person was no different from their compatriots. But the functional differences were striking. Such a person probably had 360-degree vision, since every centimeter of their body functioned as an eye. Such people were excellent warriors. It was impossible to attack them from behind. They were chosen as priests, since to everyone else it seemed these mutations could see with their eyes closed. And they therefore created a weapon which relied entirely on observation. The sculptures couldn't attack a priest, since he'd be able to see them even as he slept. The priests were also different since their lives were greatly prolonged, and they also bore a plethora of children. Some of their descendants, but by no means all of them, inherited their mutations. It's likely Haradusi Murakato was one of those direct descendants of ancient priests. The sculpture always felt his gaze, so it never attacked his creator. Of course, SCP-650 is not hostile like SCP-173. But this statue all the same demands round-the-clock observation. But all the same, the incidents involving the Foundation's scientists and Danny have shown the black statue is easily capable of leaving its containment room and covering large distances in a fraction of a second. So take care and be vigilant, because next time SCP-650 might show up behind your back.
No, it just scared. I just punched that thing. And yeah, I think that's all. And by the way, I'm sorry about that. Detective Void, I was just, conclusion already about that. I'm so sorry about that. What I say at the beginning, I was thinking that why you do that, why you say that the statue thing that in Squid Game, light green, red green like that is the SCP. If you talk about that, I was like, my God, are they crazy? Do not know how, you know what I mean? That is just a game, and you try to make a SCB, SCB. I mean SCP about that. I was like, my God. But and yeah, I just right away to my answer. I'm sorry about that. Okay, Detective Boy. And yeah, make sure to you guys make sure to like and subscribe to his channel right now, because he almost to get 400k. Only 6k only left. So yeah, support his channel, and do not forget to support my channel. It's called Dark Corsa. I changed my name right now, the channel right now. So yeah, make sure to do that right now. Okay. So that's all for today. Have a good day. Have a good night. Goodbye and stay home.